Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Let's KeKe. This is episode 4. I'm super excited for this experience. I hope that you all are learning something from these wonderful individuals coming on the show. Remember, this is for everyone. This is a community to inspire one another as far as seeing each other's journeys to say, that we can also maybe take different paths and maybe end up beating each other like we are on this platform. But again, this is your community. So I'm so fortunate to have with me today Kate. She is a psychic medium, someone that I have used personally and who is very encouraging to me. And so without further ado, let's please welcome Kate to our show.
Hey!
Hello. How are you doing today?
I was just enjoying the intro music. Dive into it over here.
Vibing.
Just vibing over here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be interviewed. That's right.
I know, right? You're like, where am I? Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us, because I just want everyone to know that, first of all, I think you're awesome and you're always encouraging and inspiring. So I'm very honored to have you today on the show. Aww. And, to find out more about you and your journey and like what led you to this, to helping people, because in a way you are in service.
Very much so. That's exactly how I view it.
Yes. So growing up, like was this something that you always like felt connected to, or how did this journey unfold as like even a child?
That's funny. So I grew up in a very Christian household, and several kinds of Christianity, actually. My parents were part of a Christian cult when I was a kid. And then when I was about 12, they went back to Catholicism. Mm-hmm. And Catholicism has like this it has its roots in like a whole lot of supernatural and superstitions and things like that. And so magic wasn't a thing I was allowed to investigate as a kid, but mm-hmm. in my mind, I was always pretending to do magic and to help fairies and help spirits or whatever, and help people. And then as I grew older, I kind of forgot about what I thought were games as a kid, and mm-hmm. started focusing more on what I wanted to do for the people around me. And I really wanted to be a teacher. And as I grew older, I was really close to the end of my degree, I realized that I have a real strong intolerance for authority, and bureaucracy as a teacher was not going to work out for me, because mm-hmm. I would set a building on fire before that's not really how you teach well. I'm depending on what you're teaching, I guess. So I went into massage therapy because I wanted to be of service to people. I wanted to help people learn about their bodies and feel better and heal. And I had been in that for probably 10 or 13 years. And when my gifts started to emerge, I'd always seen people's auras and things like that. Yeah. But I kind of figured, oh, I'm an artist, so I'm probably picking up things physiologically and translating it in my mind to color because I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. There's science somewhere out there, probably. That's science or something. So and people thought seeing auras was fun. So they'd say, okay, well, what does my aura mean? And the more I looked into the aura, the more the meaning just sort of came to the surface. And the meaning was, always correct, which I thought was odd, but I didn't think too much about it. I was usually doing it during a massage when we're just mm-hmm. chill and we're relaxed. Yes, there were plenty of clients who just want silence, but I swear I attract like 60% of my clients were ones that want to talk the whole time, or they want me mm-hmm. to talk the whole time. Whatever helps you relax. So it started with auras. And then one day, a client that I've been seeing for a while, he walked in and his deceased mother walked in right behind him.
Wow.
And yeah. My first thought was, I should check my meds. Oh, I'm not on any meds. Maybe I should get on some meds. but I couldn't do that in the middle of a massage, right? So I just
Mhm.
kind of dealt with her staring at me until I finally just agreed to translate, or to tell him what she was saying, what she
Mhm.
wanted to communicate, which was tricky because I don't speak Nigerian, um, or really not English at all, because I'm just a dumb American. So she had to tell me in pictures, which fortunately I'm good at because I'm an artist. So,
Mhm.
you know, at that point, and it didn't stop happening at that point. He was very receptive to it, thank God, because someone at church had told him his mother would come and visit him and comfort him that week.
Wow.
Whew.
Yeah.
So I figured if this is going to start happening more and more often, I need to get tools. And so I found a mentor, and I picked up tarot as a way of translating the messages that I was getting from the universe. And as I've been doing this over the years, I found, especially since the pandemic,
Mhm.
so many people have been awakening their own gifts. And
Yes.
we all have intuition, we all have spiritual gifts, you know? And for a lot of us raised in Christianity, that can be a scary thing. We're told not to trust that sort of thing, even though it's from the divine. Um, we're told not to trust that thing, only trust the leaders. And so I think I like kind of returned full circle to the teaching thing, whereas I serve people to help them speak to the dead, or I help them find their way spiritually or energetically, but I also help teach people to listen to their own intuition so they don't have to
Mhm.
ask me for everything. They can check in with themselves and check in with the divine, and feel that guidance personally. So
And I
yeah.
find sometimes it's like, it's crazy that you might trust somebody else versus trusting yourself.
Oh, girl, seriously, I like, it's so much more validate sometimes. When I'm trying to find guidance for myself, I'll go call up my bestie, who's also a tarot reader and
Mhm.
working her way into being, a medium as well. And I'm like, listen, I know I'm too stubborn to receive the message that I think is trying to come through. Can you help me out? And so, and that's the whole point of community, building a spiritual community so that we can
Mhm.
help each other and validate each other when we need that. Because, we're taught to doubt ourselves our whole lives, and that's not easy to break.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. and it's and but I just feel like, with our learned experiences and everything, you would think that it would be, you know, we're mature adults, but it's just like that doesn't mean anything. We're still learning as we go.
Yeah. Mature adults, we're full of our problems. We're just coming, especially the younger generations. I think Gen X is getting there,
Hmm.
but Gen Z and millennials, they've got it. So many people in their 20s are like, I'm already in therapy. Well done. We've got a lot of stuff to work through. We have to be willing to work through it and willing to say, I'm kind of effed up. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
But
learn.
yes, taking that first initial step, and just to say that I have a problem, it's like you got to really sit in that, and that can be difficult to really
Yeah.
zone in on.
Yeah, because recognizing you have a problem is the first part, right? That's essential, right? That's
Hmm.
that's the part narcissists have the biggest problem with, probably. But then, like, working on it isn't easy, and we have so much going on that the idea of hard emotional work on top of everything else we have going on in the world can just be exhausting. And we're so, especially as Americans, we are so taught to be independent and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and all of that, that I think we forget community is for the purpose of lifting each other up and supporting each other, and not judging each other. Like,
Hmm.
we all screw up, relax, screw
It's
up some more, screw up on purpose, and then you can figure it out better.
Yeah, I think that's one of the phrases as an artist is like screw up on purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
then some of the most beautiful masterpieces come from a mistake.
Yes, absolutely. In all art forms, music, visuals, dance. Yeah.
And so you can look at life as an art form because you're still every day making a new stroke on that canvas with each experience that you do. So it's not over until you transcend somewhere else. You still
Exactly.
could
And
work on
even then,
it.
you
True.
continue to exist and learn and grow. If you're not learning and growing, well, why are you here?
Yeah. And as far as like, what is there any tools that you feel like you more so like hone in on using, or is it something, or you just use whatever you feel in that time that you need to like, master in what you're trying to chime in at that time?
I think the number one most important thing that I've learned is that in order for me to receive direction and messages, I have to be grounded.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have ADHD, so I'm not always going to be great at sitting still for 45 minutes and meditating in a lotus position. In fact, that's like, if I get myself that relaxed, I might fall asleep. So, just learning that I can do a quickie, like just taking deep, slow breaths, focusing my mind, focusing my energy for just 3 minutes before I start a session or an interview or anything else I want to do that's going to be energy work. That helps so much to
Mm-hmm.
ground me in who I am and help me feel protected and help me feel focused. So that's like the number one thing. If what you're asking is what kind of tools or gifts I use when I serve other people, which is what I'm doing, I think the thing that I end up doing the most is probably using tarot, which is just life coaching with pictures if you've never done tarot cards before. And so I'll use tarot and interpret the messages on the cards and use my gift to see, because I'm not using my eyeballs when I see spirits. I'm using whatever it is that I'm using. So it's not like it shows up the way you show up. It shows up like I'm remembering a movie or something weird.
Yeah.
But I use that gift most often because I think when people are most distraught, they seek comfort. And if there has been someone in their life that they can't connect to anymore because they've moved on, then that person revisiting can be a great comfort to them and be very grounding for them. But
And I know you talked about like community earlier. Like, is there any communities that you have found yourself drawn more to or learning from or growing with?
the witchy community.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that what I'm calling witches, what I mean by that are people who are just really involved in their personal spiritual connection to the divine, whether they have a religious practice or not. People who have a spiritual practice that's really important to them, and they do things on their own, like tarot or runes or palmistry or meditation. People like this are interested in constantly growing and
Mm-hmm.
constantly serving others and bringing more light into every practice that they do. And so with every passing day, I meet somebody new who's in that community. And we always are. In fact, I was in a big meditation right before this, hence my distraction. And it was a big group meditation and channeling. So people were channeling messages from the divine. And that was a pretty wild experience. But yeah, it's so important to connect with these people because it's so easy to feel downcast about what's going on in the world because there's so much going on in the world and so much pain and isolation, that it's easy to believe that's all there is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that isn't all there is. That's just what's shown on the news. The real reality is our connection to each other, our connection to soul, our connection to community, because that connection, our community, is so much stronger than any of the BS that's going on politically or anything else. That's what's going to save people. That's what is saving people.
And I agree too. Like, something I always have a picture in my mind is like a dark room, but soon as you like light a match or a lighter, that's light, that's something. And even in that dark room, it's like very powerful, even if it's small.
Mm-hmm.
So as we keep connecting more and more people, the light is just going to get brighter and brighter and brighter. And I think, we talked about earlier with like the pandemic and how a lot of people are finding their spiritual gifts sitting in that time where you had to sit still. A lot of people had no choice. We couldn't
Yeah.
go out and about. So that really made people become more interpersonal
Oh yeah.
because they had to deal with themselves, sometimes be by themselves all day.
I am confident that is the biggest reason why there was so much awakening, because people just couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I as a massage therapist, I definitely couldn't. Like I can't go touching people during a pandemic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. And that's like why I just like wanted to create this, because you know a lot of times like people have misconceptions even like about tarot or about using candles or using different type of things, but in the end all of it is all about anything you do in this life can have a negative connotation or a positive connotation. It's all
Yeah.
about your intention.
Yeah. And if you feel, if you're able to ground yourself and feel connected to the divine and feel protected in that, um, then there's no need for you to have fear in you. You can allow yourself to explore whatever spirituality helps you connect and connect to others. I know that, like, when I came out to my parents about what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
they were pretty freaked out about it, and like a little disjointed. Like they were like, tarot's of the devil, but how's grandma? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, that's fine. We can do that. But when I've talked to other people, there's so many other spiritual practices, and there's certain just bad connotations associated with a whole lot of spiritual practices that just aren't mainstream, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
anything that connects you with the divine, with the universe, God, whatever you want to call that, is going to be good for your soul if that's what calls to you. There's
Yeah.
nothing inherently wrong with voodoo or Buddhism or or tarot or any of these things. Whatever your soul's calling to, that's going to help you connect. And when you're connected to the divine, you can connect to your community.
Yeah. And it just reminds me like of the phrase when you just go by somebody else's perception and not do your own research and learn,
Mm-hmm.
ignorance is bliss. If you just say that's what it is and that's it, it's like how's that really any growth, you know?
Ignorance is so destructive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why having these conversations and like seeing like and you wanted to be a teacher. That just shows that you wanted to help people, because even being a teacher in that aspect, you knew you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And you know that you enjoy, seeing somebody learn, seeing somebody grow. Like you knew that's what was innate in you. And so that speaks volumes right there, to
Yeah.
show that you're just to be a teacher, you have to be humble. Like period.
Yeah. I'm too much of a dork to not be humble about it. Like, and I still get to be a teacher, I'm
Exactly.
teaching classes on how to connect. I do sometimes miss the opportunity because I really love young people, like ages
Hmm.
14 through 27. They're mine.
Yeah.
I will get feral about it. I want to, like, if someone hurts my young people, I want to break kneecaps spiritually. But
Yeah.
I still have that opportunity to serve people and to
Hmm.
teach. So,
Yes. And I mean, and that's like you said, in the capacity of what you're doing. Like, so tell us more about those classes and like how people can look into that or participate, or how's that broken down?
Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really, really stoked about it. I've taught these classes in person before at the herb shop in Holly Springs. But I've had so many friends ask me when I'm going to bring it online so they can participate because they're not in Georgia. They're all over the place. So I'm really, really stoked. It's going to be a live class because, as you can tell, I enjoy participating.
Yes.
I like the back and forth. I think that's a huge part of teaching, is that when you interact with the class, you learn too. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to cover grounding, protection. A big thing to cover in the first class is really going to be how we learn to trust ourselves, how we learn to trust that the messages that are coming in aren't our imagination, aren't anxiety. It's a real thing, and how to tell the difference there, and just trust your gifts. And we'll explore different kinds of gifts, because not everybody has the same gifts. Like there's clairvoyance and clairaudience and all. Like, I see things, I know things, sometimes I smell things, and I feel things. I don't hear so well when spirits come. I've got a friend who can hear music and voices and all sorts of stuff, and that's not my gig, but that's her gig, and she's great at it. She's also a singer, and she does sound bath and stuff like that. So we're going to explore all the stuff that I've even heard of that people can have as far as gifts go, because you shouldn't feel like you have to be just like me or just like some psychic you've seen on TV. You have your own gifts, and you're going to explore that in your own way. So we're going to go over all of that. It's just a 5-class series at the moment. I'll have a second part later. We're going to touch on different ways to do body testing, different ways to do meditation. We're going to cover tarot. We're going like we'll take 2 whole classes to cover tarot, so you can do tarot. Okay. We'll also touch on other tools like palmistry, runes, pendulum, that sort of thing. We're not going to get super into that part. We can do that in another class series, because tarot takes up a lot of time. But yeah, that's pretty much what oh, that's right. We are also going to cover spell work, which some people like to call manifestation. And I like to call it spell work because it sounds witchier. But it's the same thing. It's focusing your energy in a way that you can attract what you want, the results that you want to you. And the difference between doing that and the energetic difference between trying to attract a thing to you as opposed to hexing people, which is not a practice I suggest, and I don't do it, because that's like attracting negative energy for the purpose of hurting people. I say, let people just face their own consequences.
Yeah.
And protect yourself instead. I don't want to be involved. I don't have the energy. But I also don't have the energy to hold grudges on people. Like, if they don't like me, that's cool. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm a weirdo. It's all right.
Well, I love you, so you're good.
I love you. You're marvelous.
Thank you. And oh yeah, of course. When are you like looking to like start those classes?
Oh, I'm starting the classes July 11th. So Thursdays. It's going to be 5 Thursdays in a row at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you sign up before July 5th, you can get a free reading, 15-minute reading.
That's awesome. And where would they go to do that? On your website or?
On my website, on my TikTok site. Just message me from Instagram or TikTok or any of those, and I'll give you the rundown, the payment methods, and the link.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your time. And we always love closing out our interviews with a famous quote of yours or something that resonates. And so your quote that you said inspires you. They say a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, but it's not one half so bad as a lot of ignorance. By Terry Pratchett. And how does that resonate with you? Do you have a story behind that, or is it? Oh, so many stories. I think primarily, though, the biggest takeaway that I've always gotten from that quote is that a little bit of knowledge can give you just enough to be afraid of things, instead of enticing you to learn more and expand your mind about things.
There's so many things that I thought I knew about when I was 22, only to find out that my ignorance was so vast.
Yeah.
And instead of being angry or afraid of the new things I was learning, I wanted to open my mind so that I could be excited and grateful and expansive.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of knowledge and a whole lot of ignorance has caused more suffering in this world than anything else, I think.
Yeah.
When
Just
you when you live in ignorance, it separates you from other people.
mm-hmm. And you could have the most beautiful conversation just by listening, just by, how are you? And just engaging with people
Yeah.
instead of just holding on what you misconceptions and what you think is going on, because you never know. It's like that iceberg. You see the top of it, but you don't know what's underneath it,
Oh yeah.
could be like the same hurt, pain, or anything that you have experienced. You might have the same energy. You never know, but
You
just
never
taking the
know.
moment.
Just taking a moment and treating people like they're human beings.
Mm-hmm.
You
It
know,
sounds so simple, but I think step by step we're gonna get there.
I think it's as simple as looking at a tree, right? We look at a
Mm-hmm.
tree and how it grows up into the sky and waves in the sunlight, and we see its leaves. We know that a tree also does the exact same thing underground.
Mm-hmm.
It grows and it spreads out into the dirt and the soil and all the things that are in there. We don't see that part and we totally forget that it's there, but it's there.
Exactly.
Simple, but it takes a little minute to really process it, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's gonna happen. Just
It is
keep
happening.
being. We're being the light, and there's other people that are like want to be the light in the world, and
Mhm.
like you said before, it's more light than dark in the world, and
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah, I'm
so
excited
much
though.
more.
I'm excited for all that connection and beautiful, experiences to happen. And I appreciate your time today with chiming in with us. And make sure that you tune in, everyone, and go to her website or her social medias. They have been scrolling across the screen during our conversation, and check out those classes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for episode 3 on Let's KeKe. Remember, if you would like to be a guest on our show, you can email us at letskekeshow@gmail.com. Let's grow together. Let's share. And remember, love and kindness, that's the answer. If you lead with love and kindness, you can never go wrong. So thank you for next time. Make sure you subscribe because we have a bunch of beautiful guests already lined up and they'll be, on our channel shortly. Take care.